Yo, what's up, TI family? It's getting a lot clearer, isn't it? At least for me, it is. It's coming together. It's getting dragged into the light. You know what? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the hatred. I'm sick of the anger. I've had some nasty things done to me. And I've been slandered and smeared and knocked around and put down and beat up, all in the name of love. I ain't playing. If you engage me in battle, I'm going to battle you in the spirit. I have to. I have no choice. I'm going to fight for me because I'm a steward of myself, a steward of my family, and a steward of my God. But I desire to coexist with you. You know, the world's gotten where it is because we've lost sight of love. You know, seriously, where did we go wrong? You know, love, that's where it's at. You know, you can't change the world through hatred. You can't do a bunch of evil things and be Machiavellian and expect it to turn around for good. You can't pick people out of the crowd and beat up on them and all join in and gang stalk them and hurt them and expect that you're going to change society. You know, hate makes hate, gives birth to hate, like spirit and life gives birth to spirit and life. You know, this is a scapegoat revolution. I get it. I've wanted revolution all my life. All my life I've wanted revolution. I live for it. And you know what? I never thought that when I was 19 or 18 or whatever, I was going to meet someone that was going to set me up and destroy my life. And I loved that person. And that person, you know, had beauty in them, you know. And I remember when that person came back from Europe one time, and they told me, you know what? Hatred and anger are a really good motivator, and my jaw dropped, you know. Because yeah, it's a motivator, but a motivator for what? You know, to do things the wrong way. Aren't we sick of that? You know, we live in an instant society where everyone wants it their way all the time, and I agree with you all. It's gone terribly wrong, and psychopathic, nefarious people are running the world, and I'm not one of them. You know, nor are a lot of TIs. You know, a lot of us have been set up, and we're your brothers and sisters in arms. You know, and you know what I'm here to tell you? You know, it's got to stop and it's got to change because we're wrecking the world, you know. And if you care for your own family and your own people, you can't do this, you know. Look what happened, you know, over the course of history. I mean, look what happened to the Nazis. I know that some of them, you know, got hired by the CIA and they went on to, you know, do this, and that's, you know, and, you know, it is what it is, but they've got us all fighting each other, you know, divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. And it ain't right, you know? We got to realize that we're in this together no matter what and accept each other's differences, you know? What is this hive mind thing? You know, that's not good for you, and it's not good for me. You know, be free to be you. You know, why do you have to fit like in a one size fits all solution? Think about it. You know, you're trying to change the world, you know, and take it out of the box by putting everyone in the box. Nah, you know what? People have tried to dress me up in some pretty yucky outfits for weird events over the years. Nah, ain't doing it, you know? So it is what it is. The only person I can control in the world is me, you know? But I'm trying. I'm trying to love, you know? It's like a tidal wave of love came over me today. It's just absolutely amazing what's happening in my spirit, you know? You know, I've seen some deep stuff, you know? I've seen some really evil stuff done to me, you know, by some really evil people to hide their own tracks, you know? And you know what? I don't hate them. I hate what they're doing. I hate what they've done. But you know what? I'm not going to be a part of it. And I'm so glad I'm a TI because I wouldn't want to be on the other side of this if that's what it is. If you say that you don't want a psychopathic world, you got to stop acting like psychopaths and saying the end justifies the means. It doesn't. That's a psychopath's course of reasoning. It's classic psychopath deflection. You've got to think about it, right? Psychopaths slander and smear everyone, you know? Everyone they can't control. So think about it. I know that I was bullied to the nth degree and I stood up for myself. And look at where I am today, being stalked, mocked, and shocked. And I don't hate you. And that's freedom. And that's love. Hatred, you know, justifying, evil. No, you know. And you know what? Let's do away with another big lie. You know, don't you think that if people can do all this evil, and justify it in the course of doing good, saying the end justifies the means, don't you think that they were doing that stuff years before they met you? And don't you think that some of the people they slandered and smeared, were actually their victims? Hmm, I don't know. Something to think about, you know. Anyway, I don't care, I'm not in it to defend myself anymore. I mean, I know the truth and the truth will set me free. And it is what it is. And the truth will set you free too, though. And don't you want a free world? Don't you want to live in a world that focuses on love, that does things the right way? You're right. Things need to change. And, a lot of the elites need to be dealt with. I am in full agreement. I have been. If you knew me, I've been on this for, whew, man, I don't know. I'm in my late 40s now. I've been thinking this way since I was like 12, and I was listening to like No Effects and stuff and the Misfits and stuff straight up, you know. I don't agree with, a lot of their ideology now, but I agree with a lot of the things they have to say still, you know. I mean, things suck and corruption sucks. And the fact is, like, 1% has 99% of everything. That sounds pretty greedy to me. So you might want to start following the money. Follow the money when it comes to gang stalking if you're involved on the other end of it and you're a perpetrator. I mean, follow the people. Realize that a lot of people have been set up by corrupt people. And you're not doing a service. And just because someone says it's true, doesn't make it so. And if they get a bunch of lying witnesses, what if those people have been coerced and blackmailed into doing that stuff because they were set up? And psychopaths are strategy players. They play chess, not checkers. This is the art of war. Their whole life is the game. Straight up. If you know psychopaths, you know what I'm talking about. So you can't kill off all the empaths, because then you're going to have a completely psychopathic world, and you can't do all this evil and then be like, okay. Now we've done away with everything that disagreed with us, and we're all of the same accord and the same mind. What kind of a world is that? Diversity is beautiful, don't you think? I mean, I've been so badly set up and slandered. I remember one thing where, like, I was getting into it. I was doing a spiritual purge, and these people set me up. I was going through my life with a fine-tooth comb and trying to take inventory on every little thing I did. So something I called out, 99% of the other people wouldn't have called out. I'd look at like one little action or reflection. I'd be like, ooh, that's this. And you know what I mean? And, I just wanted to be so right in my heart, straight up. And that was taken and just used against me, in 1,000 different ways. I mean, and, there's so many people like that have been led and poked. I saw on a gang stalker site recently that he said, he'd been on here too, and he probably watches the videos. He's probably one of my dudes. And that's all good. That's just fine. But, he enlightened me, because I thought, wow, do some of these people really realize, how evil this is and how evil they are? And
I mean, pretending you're a Christian and then having satanic imagery and like pictures of Baphomet and stuff, that's pretty evil, At least like don't be a coward and just come out and say, "Hey, I dig Satan and I worship Satan," and you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, he's the father of lies, so if you're taking that road, I mean, maybe you want to be just like daddy. I don't know. That's not for me to judge. That's between you and your father, the father you've chosen for yourself. But the one thing he said is like, he was talking about TIs and he made this quote, and I don't think he'd want me to call him out by name because he's on a lot of TI sites, and I'll show him that respect. Whether he had no respect for me or not, I'll show him respect because you know what? I'm not functioning in hatred anymore. I'm just done with it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm done naming names. Maybe I shouldn't have done that in the past, and I'm sorry. I'm an imperfect human being. I just would get so riled up because I know how many lies have been told about me and one of my loved ones, and how many situations we've been led into, and I know other genuine TIs that have been really hurt and slandered and stuff. And so, I mean, truth matters, real truth, not fabricated truth. And then justifying it by saying, oh, well, the real criminals escape justice. No, no, no. Well, that's true on a high level. But, like, man, some of the things people are being smeared for are just the most heinous, awful, awful things. I hate the stuff people say about me. It's just disgusting. I was never down with that. I was a victim of stuff, and I didn't go on to victimize others. I hated that. I hated those people. I used to actually, I am a Christian. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm not ashamed to say that I love Jesus Christ. I'm not a church dude. The church people hate me. Most of them gang stalk me or they'll pretend to be my friends and they look totally down on me and they're involved in gang stalking and the whole. United Nations C305, whatever it is, I don't know the name of it, it is what it is, right? But like that's totally true. Like these people don't dig me, they look down on me, and people don't realize that I was set up 20 years ago, and things were done like covertly for years and years and years in my life, and I did make mistakes, and I'm human, but I never made the mistakes that people said I did. Never. And I know so many TIs that are like that. There's actually like case files and stuff on strategy that like Secret Service agencies, and police forces use and stuff, to actually wage the actual, like they actually have tactical outlines, for how to destroy a person. And I mean, if you don't believe me, there's a really good movie. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's on Netflix, but it's about the guy who basically found out that the CIA was dealing coke, in California, I think in Compton and stuff. They were getting rid of tons of crack. They were picking up coke and turning it into crack and making boatloads of money, and they were supporting a war somewhere in Central America or something, right? You know what I'm talking about. You probably know what I'm talking about. And they destroyed that man's life. They absolutely destroyed his life and reputation. They did the same thing with, like, look what happened to, like, JFK. Look what happened to Malcolm X. Look what happened to the dude, I forget his name, who was the leader of the Black Panther Party. They destroyed these men, they annihilated them. I mean, and they've done that time and time and time again because they want to shut down the real opposition. We're a real threat to them. And, it just makes me really sad because, like, man, I want to be on change's side. I wanted change. I wanted to see things straighten out. I wanted to see the rich and the sickos and the pedophiles and all these people be brought to justice for as long as you can remember. I was starting to tell you that before, like I really got set up hard and everything by the psychopath that set me up, really bad at the end. And she was actually a plant. She was a handler. And people don't realize that. They don't realize that this person completely had me framed. They had nothing but a nefarious agenda for me, all laid out from the beginning. And I found proof and have proof of that. That like 6 months before I ever met this person, they were spouting smack about me online and stuff. And, I never met this person in my life before, had no inclination who this person was, but they knew who I was and they had a plan and a purpose integrating themselves into my life, you know. And, that's fine. It is what it is, But, I used to like pray and fast. And, I was one of the dudes who was like really, really, really mad about Pizzagate and stuff. This is really true, And all the other stuff that was going on. Like, I would pray for hours for people, and it broke my heart, like just to see the heinous things that have been said about me and stuff, and to see other men that I know are really good men that are just slandered and smeared. It seems like a woman can say anything about a man these days and it's okay. And you know what? Like, if you want to be a feminist and all that, that's great, but like, don't treat men like they're not equal to you. And you have to listen to a man, and a man should be able to at least voice his opinion on things, and not just condemn guilty because he's a man, You can totally investigate and dissect and put someone in a million situations and take their life apart piece by piece and dismantle it and come to the conclusion that, they're a bad person, because all of us have made mistakes, All of us, when we were young, for the most part, were filled with teenage angst and rebellion, And a lot of us were screwed up. We got messed with when we were kids and stuff. And, we had a hate on with the world and we didn't know any better. And with me, it's like I never had a hateful heart, but I was angry, and I had an addiction when I was young. And, I mean, come on, how many people have got drunk and said and done stupid things, Not hurtful, dangerous things to people, but just said and done stupid things, especially to people who were harassing and bullying them. Come on, think about it. I bet you have yourself, And, the thing is that, when I found this comment on this Gang Stalkers page, all of it became crystal clear to me because he said what it's like, gang stalking, right, is like putting a wild animal in a cage and poking them with a stick all day. And then when they react, saying, oh, we better put them down now, right? That's exactly what's been done to me in my life, since I was a little boy, all that's been done. I mean, you know what? We were poor. My dad died when I was a little kid, you know. I didn't have like any brothers or sisters and stuff, I was pretty much alone. I was picked on and bullied in school, you know. I mean, all of this is nothing new to me, I've been picked at my whole frickin' life, you know. And you know what? When I was a kid, right? Like I did overcome it and stuff, but I was a lonely kid and I was hurting, And I really believe that's when darkness started to get into my life and stuff, I mean, not in the ways that I wanted to act out and hurt people and stuff like that, not at all. But darkness started to tell lies about me. Like I do things that other kids would do, make mistakes like other kids, and darkness would be like, oh, you're shameful and you're going to hell, and blah blah blah, and you're less than, and everything else, and all the things that Satan, says, And the fact is that, that's just a big huge lie package, And I grew up with this inferiority complex, and then when I became a teenager, like, and when I was a kid too, right? I was like a really good looking little kid, and then when all this trauma happened to me and stuff, I gained a bunch of weight and stuff, and I chunked up, right? Because like it was like that was my addiction as a kid, was like junk food and stuff, And so that's what I did. But then like when I was like 12 or whatever, I started like really noticing girls and stuff, and I wanted a girlfriend or whatever, right? So like I lost all the weight, and then, I took a wrong path, you know. I actually became embittered towards the people I grew up with that thought they were so much better than me and bullied me and put me down and were so hateful towards me. So I wanted to be cooler than them and better and party harder and be a bigger badass and all that stupid stuff. So that's the path I took, for a long time. And, I got really lost, and that's the truth. And I got really lost. And while I was there and while I was still young, you know, they laid a net for me, because I had to make a call. I really loved someone and I had to stand up for them, and they were vulnerable, and so I did. And because of that, I had a psychopath from way back in the day, go after me hard. And them and their family, set a big trap for me and everyone turned on me and, and that was a long time ago, right? We're talking 20 years ago now. Over 20 years ago, this stuff started happening with me. So, anyway, it is what it is. But, you have to remember that everything isn't as it seems. Like, if you look at the world around you and everything that's going on, you'll realize that, especially if you're awakened. Like, you would have never guessed some of the things were the way they were. You know what I mean? And you've been lied to, and you realize that too. So, you got to think a little bit outside the box and realize, like, maybe you've been duped about people too. Maybe some of the people you're going after and sleering and slandering and stuff have been really, really set up and provoked and played with for a really long time. And maybe the people behind it were the exact people that you are trying to really focus on, but they've deflected off of themselves and put it on these other people, because that's what psychopaths always, always, always do. It's your fault. They never take any responsibility for their own actions. I do. I'll tell you, I made a lot of mistakes in my life. Straight up, I did. I'm not going to cop to things that I never did. Not at all. There's no way I'll do that. But the things I did do, I will admit to. And I was a drug addict and I made mistakes and stuff. And I was an alcoholic. I wasn't like a hardcore drug addict. Like, I was more an alcoholic who was a pothead, to be honest. And I like my psychedelics. I do a lot of mushrooms and a lot of LSD and stuff like that back in the day when I was young. A lot of ecstasy and stuff like that. I did blow and stuff too, right? So all that's public record, so I don't really care. But like, I don't think that I'm any better than a person that like was fully addicted to meth. And yeah, I've done meth too when I was young and stuff like that too. Like one time I did it for like 2 weeks or something when I was like going through a hard time in I think my 20s or my early 30s or something. So yeah, I've made my share of mistakes. And I never like I don't think I'm better than people because I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian because I think I need God because I'm trying to do better. And I believe that Jesus Christ personally is the way, the truth, and the life. So I'm trying to do that. And my faith, like I have been angry because I hate hatred and I hate evil. And I've been like on this mission because I don't want to live in a world that falsely accuses and condemns people, for any reason, like because they've been slandered and smeared and set up by evil people. You don't realize you're helping like the most satanic, evil, wicked people, when you do stuff like that. Like that's truly what you're doing. So, I don't know. I know there's always going to be people that just don't care. And, I've seen that. I've even seen them write about it. I've met them in my life and I've heard them talk about it openly and honestly. And I appreciate that more when someone just tells me I don't care and I want to burn the world completely down and rip everything apart and live in absolute chaos. Okay, well, that's fine. Thanks for being honest. I totally disagree and oppose you. I want to live in a loving world where people actually care about each other and try to help and bring about positive change, right? But it is what it is. So I'm just leaving it at that. I love you. Thank you. Bless you. Have a good night. Cheers.